In the previous lesson, we inserted a table into our publication here, which happens to be a postcard or a flyer announcing a new location. And now it's time to format that table to change its look a little bit. So when we selected the table to be inserted into the publication, we had some choices in front of us for formats. And we decided to choose this format, and you can see that maybe it doesn't fit nicely. It would be good to change the color scheme, for example. Well, there's a number of different ways to format your tables. If you're skipping to this lesson, you can get all caught up by going to your Open button up here, navigating to the Lesson 8 folder of your exercise files and opening up Postcard 8B. So with that one open up on your screen, you'll be all caught up. Here's our table. To format our table, we just click right on the table anywhere. Your cursor can be flashing in one of the cells. That's okay for this first way of changing the format. Let's go up to Table on the Table menu, and you'll see Table Auto Format down below. Give that a click. So there's our currently selected format list with Title 3. We chose that when we inserted the table. But if we decided we want to go back to one of the other ones, we can here just by selecting it from the list. Find one that you like, maybe List 7 for example. And just before we click OK to make that change, you'll notice there's an Options button here, and we can expand this dialog box to show some checkboxes. So under Formats to apply, you can see when we choose List 7, we can choose to alter the text formatting, text alignment, patterns and shading, and borders. So all of these are checked off, all will be affected, but if we only wanted to change up the patterns and shading, then we could deselect the checkboxes that we don't want to affect. So you can see the borders disappear from the outside. It's just patterns and shading that will be affected in our new format. We'll put borders back because I think we need them, and that looks good. We'll click OK to make that change. So you can see now I've got some different shading. I'm going to click Undo up here on the standard toolbar. We'll undo that format. And I want to show you another option, and that is to manually change things however you like. So for example, here in this top row, we can go up to Format this time and down to Table. And when we do that, we get the Format Table dialog box. I'm just going to move it out of the way so you can see part of the table in the background. So right now, because we're in this top cell, this first row, you can see that the fill color appears to be black. Well, we can come down here and choose from a list of colors that appear in our color scheme, or if we wanted to choose different colors, more colors, and we also have fill effects. We covered all of these in a previous lesson when we're formatting other objects. So let's go up to this Accent 2 here, which is kind of a dark pink, and we'll click OK to see what that looks like. Interesting. Now I could do the same thing for this row down here and this row if I wanted alternating rows to have different colors. Or I can choose from one of those pre-formatted options that I saw from the table menu. So formatting your table, not a big deal. Let's go down here and highlight this row. We'll go back up to Format and down to Table and talk about some of the other options. First of all, the color. I'm going to change that to a light pink. And I'm going to click OK to see what that looks like. Deselect my table. And it would look good if these rows down here were the same. So I'm going to repeat that. Format, Table, change our color to our pink selection, and click OK. Let's do that one more time. We click and drag across both cells in the row, up to the Format menu, select Table, and we'll choose the light pink, and OK. Alright, so there's our finished table. All we need to do is get some text in there and maybe do a little bit of formatting with our row heights and our column widths. And we are going to do that. But I want you to click inside the table, and this time click from the top, drag all the way down to the bottom right corner so the entire table is selected. Now we'll go up to Format and down to Table. And you'll see now any colors we choose, any line colors we choose will affect the entire table because the entire table is selected. So we can do things like alter some of the borders, for example. Right now, each of these buttons that is highlighted indicates that we have borders going across the top, bottom, left, and right, but nothing on the inside. If we wanted something down the middle, we could click this button here, for example, and then choose a line color to be used, like black, and you can see a preview here in the sample dialog box. So we could do the same for going across. I'm going to just leave one separating my two columns. You can see we've also got some presets down here, so we can have borders around every single cell, just around the outside of the table, or no borders at all. We can change the size of our table by default, and when we sized it to fit into that space on our page, you can see the height was changed, the width was changed, there's no rotation, and there's no scaling. We're just looking at it at 100%. All of these can be changed to your liking. Let's check out the layout. So the position on the page, where it exists on our page, horizontally and vertically, going down and across. From the top left corner of our page is where we measure these. The wrapping style, now it doesn't really apply to this particular publication, but when you insert a table inside a publication that's full of text, how will that text go around the table? That's up to you. Square, tight, around the shape of the table. Will it go right through the table, only across the top and bottom and nothing down the sides? Or will there be no wrapping at all, so the text will just go right across the top of that table and you'll have overlapping? So here's some other wrap text options down below. Cell properties, because we've selected the entire table, we can select, for example, the vertical alignment of our text, which is defaulted to top. And I am going to click this one and select middle. So you can see in my sample here, any text I type in a cell will be vertically aligned in the middle. Now we don't see a horizontal alignment because we'll use our normal formatting buttons up here on our formatting toolbar when working with text inside a table. So we'll click OK. And now our changes have been made to our table. All we need to do is get some content inside the table now that it's been formatted. And we'll do that next.